animals.
All right, I guess we're streaming. We'll see if people complain about the audio now that I did the thing. Maybe I should put the thing up a little more.
Whatever.
The thing, the thing. Okay, I guess that'll work. Anyway. Do you see Banana Man?
They should have just done 6 foot, 7 foot.
I could make that video.
Fun.
I could take that same video and just put the song over
Good
it
luck with the
probably.
copyright strikes from Harry Belafonte.
It's pretty easy to get around for a short video. All right, guess we're good. Let me tweet.
De la
And
Comende.
you won't go home. For most of my young childhood, I just called that the Beetlejuice song.
What's the other song? You know, sometimes when you're only listening to like movie soundtracks and you
Yup.
don't listen to music, you know, you just associate songs with movies, even
Yup.
though the song is from somewhere else, right? Like
Days like what was the song I'm
like
thinking of?
Kokomo, Cocktail, even though it's a Beach
Yup.
Boys song.
Every day
Or
is
like,
getting longer.
for a
That song
long-
from
for-
Stand By Me.
For a long time, Bohemian Rhapsody was just associated with Wayne's World by kids who
Yup.
didn't know better.
In fact, I remember that like when I saw
Like when
World,
Wayne's World came out, everyone like at school, like I hadn't seen Wayne's World or cared, but people at school started singing Bohemian Rhapsody. And I was like, why is everyone singing Bohemian Rhapsody lately? What's up?
Yep.
I'm like, that song is older than me.
But all the kids who weren't really into music were like, yeah, it's this Queen song. Queen sucks, but that song is great. And I was like, what is wrong with you?
I'm like, did you even know who Queen was before yesterday?
Your dad probably said that's Queen after you came out of the movie and you were humming it.
The one time I had for my history/social studies class in senior year,
Nah?
I think I chose basically current events class, which was basically cool class with cool teacher.
Nah.
And one time we watched like I think it was like a Vietnam War something, and he's like, "All right, everyone, whoever can name the most songs from this
Wow.
gets like an extra credit."
That's
And I was like, I got like all but one. Like,
all right, let's do it. I got an opening bit.
I mean, it was all songs that like you expect to be in a Vietnam War thing, right? Like, "Give Me Shelter" and yeah, like these kinds of songs, and people like didn't know what they were. I think that only one other person got any. And I'm like, what did your parents listen to in your house? Like, where did you grow up?
All right. Oh, there's already a bunch of people watching. All right, cool.
2 people.
2 people. That's a bunch for I just clicked stream.
My Zelda stream almost got to like 8 people.
Nice.
Gaga. But the thing is, like, the number goes way up when I'm just about done streaming.
Yep. Because most of those people stream for like 4 hours. I stream for like an hour and they're like, yeah, it's time for dinner.
I streamed a whole long time, but the number still like goes up when I'm about to quit.
It's Tuesday, April 11th, 2017. I'm Rim.
I'm smarter than Rim.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we're talking about The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Am I the wild? I breathe.
Let's
I'm
do
do
this.
Just the breath.
Just the breath. Oh, there's 4 people. We doubled our viewership.
Whoa. A 100% increase.
If we keep that trend up, 100% every 8 seconds. All right.
Banana Man.
It's warm today. I rode my bike to work today.
My life has been restored. Like, I was down to half a heart, but now I got extra heart.
Yep, I just had this feeling all day. It was like 77 degrees. I went out for lunch. I rode my bike.
I ate lunch in the office way quick, and then I walked over to the grassy river area, and I just laid in the grass for as long as I could get away with.
Yep. Though I did on my way home, and I will not tell. My goal for this entire summer is to not once tell yet another story of some fixie guy fucking up or getting in my way.
But you can just say there was a fixie guy fucking up today.
Yeah, but this, unless it tops this one, so the EMTs were at the base, you know, the Queensboro or the Williamsburg Bridge on the approach into Brooklyn.
Okay.
On that long downhill, there were a bunch of EMTs.
Someone fell and hurt themselves.
Someone had a pretty serious bike accident. And they were putting him into a stretcher, and there's a whole crowd of people around. And I see a fixie bike, and it looks damaged. And
Did it hit somebody or just himself?
only one person appeared to be injured.
All right. Was it the cyclist or another person?
It was the cyclist, I assume,
Mm-mm.
because it looked like, I mean, I just biked by. I wasn't going to gawk at someone with their injury, but
Yeah, I do not rubberneck.
based on the position,
Plus, I don't want to see that injury. I'll probably barf.
based on the position of some bloody bandages and such, it looked like the back of the dude's left or right, like basically, suppose that your pedals hit the back of your leg. That area was injured in a pretty serious looking fashion.
If they weren't fixed to the rear wheel, maybe they would stop spinning and not whack the back of your leg and hurt
so
you.
my suspicion is that someone did that thing that fixie bike riders like to do, where when they're going downhill, no human can pedal that fast. They pull their legs up and let the pedals just go way. And then
you should have done what the person did in my thing of the day for Thursday. Then it would work.
The problem is at the base of that bridge, there's those two big poles to prevent cars from driving in the bike area.
That is correct.
So you've got to be able to maneuver around those things. And if you're going real fast, it's not like you can just turn a bike on a dime, especially if your feet are not on the pedals.
Yeah, apparently I heard a story. Cops were ticketing people for not walking their bikes over the RFK bridge.
What?
It's like, why don't you ticket these fucking fixie guys instead? It's like your law. I think pretty sure the law says you have to have brakes on your bike.
Yep.
Or lights. Like if they ticketed for those things, I would not care as much about, because all the cyclists are pretty much like, whenever cops ticket cyclists, they're like, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this at all, even though we are breaking laws technically, because you should be harassing drivers.
The RFK bridge one was amazing.
Because drivers are murdering people, right? And, obviously there's some truth to that. But at the same time, it's like, well, you are still violating laws, so it's not really that. Just don't do that.
But it's mostly dumb laws because they're
some of the law. The RFK one is kind of dumb, but like
the RFK one is extra dumb because that bridge is so long that walking over it is ridiculous.
Oh well, I wonder why that rule exists. Because it's not wide enough.
It's because
there's one part where there's no fence. I'm actually afraid I'm gonna fall over the edge.
It's because of some fight between the Port Authority and the MTA and a couple other basically there's all these arguments about jurisdiction. So bridges that are under certain people's jurisdictions, just bike all you want. And bridges that are under other people's jurisdictions, they hate bikes. And there's this weird internal New York City politics thing going on.
Anyway, the point is that they should go after people who, if you want to ticket cyclists, ticket them for something that's actually bad, like not having lights at night or not having brakes on your bike.
Or actually just running a red light in front of actual traffic.
Yeah, not a red light at the thing is they do ticket for red lights a lot, and that's what cyclists.
No,
you
know what they're doing now?
They ticket for people at T sections where they're going on the right side of the road.
I saw a dude getting a ticket on a T where the part of the T that for the light goes into a brick wall.
Yep.
So what they're doing lately is they won't pull people over right away. I saw a whole bunch of reports of this on a couple of Reddits just recently.
They follow you a bunch.
They follow you until you've run 20 red lights because technically they're traffic tickets. So they follow all the same rules as cars, meaning each subsequent offense of the same type in a certain period adds a multiplier to your fine. So this guy got basically a $6,000 ticket for running a stop sign because he ran 10 stop signs in the middle of the night on an abandoned road.
Yep.
So, yeah. But I won't complain about
I'm sure there
anymore.
weren't any cars doing any really dangerous things at that time.
Yep. So, it's gaming day, and the most important game right now is NHL hockey because the hockey playoffs start tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to be some good stuff.
So even if you didn't pay attention to hockey all year, or you don't care about hockey, when the hockey games tomorrow are going to be nothing like the hockey games that you have seen the rest of the year.
Yeah, regular hockey is someone wins, someone loses. Maybe there's a rivalry.
Are we making the playoffs or are we not? Okay, we're in. We don't really care. Once it's playoff hockey, everyone tries super hard and everyone is super serious.
And if there's a tie, they don't just do a shootout. They just keep playing literally forever until someone wins.
For real wins, not shootout wins.
You have to win in a regular old hockey golden goal, and they just keep going. And
so start watching tomorrow, and even if you know nothing, it will be excitement.
There's also a dynamic
Watch
to
any
it.
team you want.
Because it's not
just don't root for any team.
Because remember, normally in any sport during the regular season, you play a bunch of different teams. You never play the same team twice in a row. And you only usually play teams that are in your area, and you occasionally play teams that are further away, if you do at all. In hockey, with the finals, you basically play against the same team up to 7 games, and you start like learning from each other and adapting to each other in a way that
You find the goalie's weak point and then aim at it like it's a red spot on some boss.
Yup. It's good stuff. So you got any gaming news other than the fact that the most important sport is happening right now?
So, Mad Catz is a company that for most of my life, I associated them with shitty third-party controllers because that's what they made. They made really stupid third-party controllers. You'd go to and the thing is, in my life, I have never bought a third-party garbage controller. Right?
Have I ever?
I've bought third-party controllers, but never bad ones. Only on occasion when they happen to be a really high-quality one, which is rare. I have mostly, like 90%, bought first-party quality controllers.
I bought one Logitech gamepad once at RIT, and that piece of shit.
I bought Gravis gamepads.
Yeah,
the
it was
real deal.
Even Gravis gamepads, though, not great.
That was the best you can get in those days.
Yeah,
for
but
a
not
PC,
great.
For a PC, that was a first-party controller. For a DOS PC, the Gravis gamepad was the first-party gamepad.
No, I'll give you that.
Anyway, the point is, and Mad Catz was like the worst at making third-party controllers. They had ones that had like weird shapes and they were not good to use. They were bad in every conceivable way. They were cheap and flimsy. But like I'd go to other people's houses, even people had more money than me, right? And they would have third-party controllers. I guess they bought them because they were cheaper or they thought they were cooler looking or they didn't know better. And it's like, oh my God. And of course, you know.
The worst was when it was someone
if they
knew
thought they were
who had a Nintendo console. Like,
right, it's like you go to this kid's house and this kid, he chose to buy this third-party Mad Catz N64 controller so you get a 4 for GoldenEye, right? But it's like, if he chose this one and liked it, that he chose it over getting a regular Nintendo one, why does he insist on using the regular Nintendo one in his house and make you use the Mad Catz one?
Because he realized he made a terrible mistake, and he can't admit that in public.
No, so...
but then they had kind of a renaissance in that they, you know, once Rock Band, the first Rock Band came out, and Guitar Hero, those games sort of brought back the weird controller era for a while.
Right, there seemed to be something happened, you know, some years ago where Mad Catz, someone took it over or something. They started
really
actually
nerdy.
making
like their loyal customers. They were like super open and really helpful, good customer service.
They suddenly like something changed and they became like they had factories where they could make controllers apparently, right? And they turned.
I don't know if they made them directly or if they outsourced.
The point is they had the capability of designing and building game controllers, and they used it to make good controllers at some point. And they became like a really cool company that made good stuff, including like fight sticks especially. I have a Mad Catz.
I also have a Mad Catz fight stick.
Like Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4 fight stick.
It came with a keychain that also looks like the fight stick that has the Allen wrench I need to open my fight stick because I can modify my fight stick.
Yeah, it's like that's way cool. And it also happens to be a really good fight stick with like real buttons, real stick, a square gate, not no bullshit, you know, like angle gate that they use in the US.
But you can replace the gate if you want.
Sure, it's like pretty awesome. So Mad Catz turned their ship around, but now...
Well, unfortunately, by turning their ship around, they turned it into the Rock Band 4 ship.
Right.
Apparently, Rock Band 4 had to go crazy nuts or they were done.
So now they're done. Mad Catz is going out of business.
If you notice at the PAXs, like, seeing who is spending money at PAX, especially in like the more social gaming scene, is actually a pretty good indicator of who's doing well. Because for a long time, it was like the Rock Band stage. Everywhere you'd see Rock Band type just like on a stage. There'd be like 5 of them. And then right before Mad Catz went under, suddenly it was all Jackbox instead. And all the fake instrument games kind of fell by the wayside.
Right, the fake instrument games went away.
Just Dance kind of replaced them, but not enough.
Right,
like,
and then they tried to bring them back. They put in an effort. Like, all right, we let them go. It was hot for a while. People have cooled off. We'll wait. And then we'll bring them back. But the bringing them back did not work.
No, it did not.
They failed at the bring back. They didn't wait long enough. They were too, they needed that Monets, and they went and they gambled too soon.
Yep, and meanwhile, those like the replacement in that sector now really seems to be those Just Dance style games. But I've noticed that they have a higher social barrier to entry, and that people who are totally fine playing a fake guitar on stage totally not fine having to freeform dance in front of a screen. So you've got kind of a different demographic playing those games when there is a stage at a convention.
I'm telling you, DDR, the window is open. Now's the time.
DDR could come back in a big way.
And that's not just because we're DDR nuts. I really do think they've waited long enough on DDR that they could bring it back now.
I mean, as far as I can see,
but I mean, waiting longer is only going to increase the chance of DDR being successful again. So wait longer.
Step Mania got some updates, and it's kind of way worse now.
Boo.
Like, it's ugly as shit. And it doesn't come with arrows that look like DDR.
Can't you mod that like crazy though? Can't we just make it look like a
So
fourth
I tried. I gotta
Can't
try
we make
again.
it? We should just download the graphics from Fourth Mix Plus and make it indistinguishable
so I found
from
a
an
pack.
actual Fourth Mix Plus machine.
I found a pack someone made that was literally DDR fourth mix shit.
Yeah.
And I have tried every way that the quote unquote documentation of Step Mania says to make that work, and the arrows just seem to randomly look worse and worse and worse and don't look like the images I can see in the pack I'm telling it to use.
At least it's open source. You could work on that.
I could. So in other news, this kind of thing is happening a lot lately. So this particular story isn't really that noteworthy. It's more that this kind of thing is something you really got to pay attention to, especially if you pay attention to esports. There's a Counter-Strike tournament, and there is a long-standing glitch, and it's kind of a fiddly glitch in Counter-Strike, where smoke grenades...
Counter-Strike Go, you mean?
Well, yeah, Counter-Strike. Anyone who says Counter-Strike definitely means Counter-Strike
1.7?
1.6. Because anyone who's playing one Counter-Strike 1.6 today is not going to say, yo, I play Counter-Strike. They're going to say, yo, I play Counter-Strike 1.6, semicolon, it is far superior to all other Counter-Strikes, and that's their whole life. If they say just Counter-Strike, they're playing whatever the new one is. But this glitch has been around forever, as far as I can tell. And basically, a smoke grenade can put out a Molotov sometimes.
Can that happen in real life?
I have no idea. I mean, how do you even test for that? There's a lot of different kinds of smoke grenades. Most of them are not explosions. They're
Is
just
putting out a Molotov really that strong in Counter-Strike? They don't burn that long.
So
even if you could do it reliably, how good is it?
Have you ever played modern competitive Counter-Strike?
Not competitively.
Okay, so you've never played like modern 5-on-5. Basically, it comes down to like really tight scripted rotations and picks, and the strategies are real specific. So if you throw a Molotov into an area like a choke, guaranteed that team is not going to come through that hallway for a specific number of seconds, because that would be suicide. So you can plan accordingly, and those seconds matter. So if you throw a Molotov down a hallway, you can turn your back on it and go do your business, whatever it is you're going to do. But if that Molotov goes out earlier than it should have, there can be people in places that your brain knows they cannot be, and you're instantly dead.
So you throw a Molotov and no one's coming from the left, so we're just going to guard the right and wait, and we know the timing because we're pros of when the Molotov will be out, and then we can pay attention to those places again.
It'd be like in old Quake, where you see the quad damage and someone gets it and now it's gone. You know exactly how many seconds it'll be till someone can get quad damage again.
Right.
And then suddenly someone just has quad damage again. That's what it's like. But on a super...
So it is a pretty significant effect if you can do it.
But it's difficult to pull off. It seems really glitchy.
It's not just an automatic thing, like throw a smoke at a Molotov and it goes out?
Nope. Sometimes they just bounce out of it. But it's been... incidents related. This is the height of Counter-Strike, is that this glitch, which is difficult to trigger, rare, and highly situational, has caused a problem in several super serious Counter-Strike tournaments in recent memory.
So fix that shit.
Valve won't fix it and has made no statement.
I guess they don't care about competitive Counter-Strike.
Valve seems to not really care about games.
Okay, so no, it's not just Valve, right? This is a thing that is happening, I think, in every competitive game there is, period, right? Is
Overwatch,
that companies
maybe not.
Okay, so look, I think LoL takes care of their shit, League of Legends, right? But very, very few games take care of their competitive scene well and quickly, right? Netrunner is like the worst. They never update anything. You get no communication from no one. I don't know about Magic recently. I guess they're good because
Magic's pretty good about that.
They're pretty good, but
they do it by constantly cycling.
It took them a long time to get good, right? Hearthstone, it's like, yeah, they heard they're doing better, but it's like they're just so slow at doing anything, right? It's like
Overwatch is like
if
immediate, holy
if
shit.
I
are they on
ran
top of
if
that?
I ran a competitive game, like I was in charge of it, I would be updating that shit weekly and perhaps more often than weekly, fixing everything, polishing everything, right? When I saw like something, going off the Pareto frontier, I'd be nerfing, I'd be boosting.
That is literally what Overwatch is like.
Right,
It has been since launch.
I'd be tweaking like more than weekly, to just get shit so hot.
So there's an argument to be made that because Overwatch and most people are trying to have seasons now to make esports a little more reasonable to manage.
Yep.
It would make sense to whatever the rules are at the start of the season. Like if there's a glitch, unless you have a rule like normal.
No. You got to do it like Debian Linux. You get the stable. And the right?
That is exactly what Overwatch does. You realize the way Overwatch works, there is the legit current version that's in competitive during the season. There's also the public test region. So the next set of tweaks is always there, and you can just log in and play with the next set of rules. And as soon as those rules are solid, they immediately push
There
them.
are a very large number of competitive games in the world. And the number of ones that handle this sort of thing, the competitive scene properly, and tend to it like a garden they
But
actually
no, there
care
is a
about,
serious argument.
you can count them on two hands.
There is a good argument that you might not necessarily want to make constant minor changes in the course of a given season, because that might benefit players who took advantage of things before later in the season. It's better to do. Look what hockey does. Every year they're like, so did anything go wrong this year? Oh yeah, this thing happened. Well,
but if something's egregiously
wrong,
if
it's egregious to do it immediately.
You got to fix that shit right away.
And this one wouldn't be egregious, except that the skills at the upper levels of Counter-Strike are so high, and the factors that determine victory are so narrow that this is coming up repeatedly. But I don't think Valve cares that much.
They don't give a shit.
Counter-Strike really feels like it's fallen off, like it's not going to be the big esport down the road.
Well, if they would just fix them, they just tend to their garden, it'd be fine. It's still Counter-Strike. It's still a big deal.
I just
but
feel
it's
like
already.
Valve
I mean,
does
it's
not
already.
care. I don't know. Valve does not feel like a game company.
It also Counter-Strike hasn't been the number one esport since the MOBAs and such, right? It's been in the top 5 area. So it's probably going to stay in the top 5 area just because it's fucking Counter-Strike.
Yep.
But, it's not going to be number one as long, unless they clean that shit.
All right. Okay. All right. But anyway, things of the day. What do you got for me?
What was my thing today? All right. So there's this website, and on the website is a map, or not actually a map, it's a globe of the Earth, an interactive one you can drag and zoom around like a Google Earth kind of deal. But on this globe of Earth are green dots. Now, each green dot represents So you zoom in on the green dot, and you can hear that radio station playing as if you were standing in that general area on the Earth, obviously with internet delay. Also, not every radio station there is. It has a very small percentage of them because not a lot of them are streaming on the internet for free, but it has still plenty because there's so many terrestrial radio stations on Earth. And it's really fascinating to go and listen to ones far away. That's something I do when we travel. Like, we were in Australia. And I was like, oh, my God, turn on the Australian terrestrial radio. We got to hear what they got here. Oh, my God, we found some Italian station.
Dude, imagine America. Imagine people who are visiting America finding out what's on AM radio in America.
Oh, God. Oh, God, don't do that. Oh, God.
Yeah, listen.
Don't judge us by our craziest people.
If you ever come to America, there's FM radio. Well, we also have
we also
radio.
have I think more radio stations than other places because we're so big and we had radio before other places and such.
Yep.
And we have the AM and the FM, and I don't know.
Well, other places. Well, so AM and FM have different usage profiles. AM is actually more reliable in a lot of situations.
Well, because you can get higher power. At least the FCC lets you have higher powers. Like there's AM stations in New York City.
Well, it's not just that. It's
that
more
are
resilient to
broadcast
noise
from the
for other
Empire
reasons,
State
too.
Building, and you can hear them in like Connecticut and upstate and shit.
Yeah.
Jersey, you can hear them real far away.
So if you've been playing Zelda, which we're going to talk about at all, you occasionally encounter people who have a really weird set of dialogue that suddenly swerves into them threatening you, and then they try to murder you.
Yeah, there's ninjas, and if you beat the ninja boss,
The members of the Yiga clan.
if you beat their ninja boss, which you have to do at some point if you want to beat the game, what will happen is randomly as you walk around the world from that point forward, ninjas will just appear and be like, haha, I'm here.
Like, they don't even pretend anymore.
Yeah, it's just like you'd be walking through the woods and suddenly you hear like, ha ha ha, poof, and there's a ninja. And it's like, fuck, I don't want to fight a ninja right now. I'm busy. God damn it.
That was almost a Mandark laugh you did there.
Well, that's what the ninjas do.
I see. I've only run into the ninjas as disguised.
Yeah, you
travelers.
didn't beat the ninja boss yet.
Of course not.
You didn't anger the Yiga clan.
But when you kill one of them, now when you first start the game, like, and you run into one of these guys, they are crazy dangerous.
There's a trick to beating those easy ones.
Yeah, but you gotta have a little bit more equipment and maybe some heart containers.
No, there's a trick. The regular tiny guys who appear from, you can just beat them with just arrows.
Oh,
you
yeah.
shoot him in the face and he goes ah, and then you can shoot him in the face again before he does anything. You just keep shooting him with arrow until he die, and then you can go pick up his rupees.
Yep. But their distinguishing characteristic is that when you kill them, they always have bananas.
And you'll see why when you visit their
Yep.
hideout
So this is a
and
video.
steal their entire banana stash like I did.
This is a video that someone made, and it's just on Twitter, and it is the story of Link and his bananas, and it is more amusing than it should be.
I recommend cooking 5 bananas together to make a potion that will get, or a food of some kind. It gives you +3 attack boost. So if you drink that shit or eat it, whatever, I don't even know what kind of food it is. It's just 5 bananas cooked together. You can now beat really strong bad guys with a lot less sword swinging because you do so much more damage.
Yup, and put some barbarian gear on, you're good to go.
Yeah, it's basically like eating this is like putting on the strongest barbarian gear.
So in the meta moment, the book club book is still Frank Gerbert's Dune. We're going to be, well, I am going to be, because Scott is not coming, live at Zenkaikon in a couple weeks.
Good luck with that.
On Saturday, I'll be doing our grind panel and foreign anime openers, which the former you can just watch on YouTube. I mean, if you're listening to this, you don't need to go to that panel. I'm literally just going to do the exact same thing that we do at PAX. But foreign anime openers, the only way to ever see that is by going to a con where I do it. And we stopped going to Anime Boston because of the security. So there aren't many opportunities to see that panel, and it'll never be on YouTube. And on Sunday, I'll be doing our rage quitting panel as well. And otherwise, I'm just going to be in their tabletop because they actually have a pretty big tabletop area just playing games. Oh, you still haven't put the new book club book on the website. It still says Rebecca.
It's your book club book.
Oh, it is mine. I guess Rebecca was yours. I guess I should edit it. When did you put Rebecca up? I feel like you only did it relatively recently in the span of how long we talked about Rebecca.
You can go look and see the exact date I put it up.
It's all moot because I'm not reading Dune until I beat Zelda.
Yeah, even though I've beaten 3 out of 4 beasts in Zelda, I'm still far away from beating that game.
And there's just so much stuff.
Yep.
All right. So, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is the first long-form, like AAA single-player game I have played in many, many, many years, where I stayed up late on more than one occasion when I should have gone to bed and kept playing it.
You might have done that for some other Zeldas if you had actually fucking played them.
I mean, I didn't like Twilight Princess that much. Like, I got bored about a third of the way through and just stopped. Like, I didn't care.
That one was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't
The best
that
part about that
fun.
one was the ancient, Triforce area. Like, ooh.
I didn't even get it. Because the problem with that game was that the whole beginning of the game was just so slow and easy and dumb, and I just got sick of it and didn't care anymore. I really liked the Zelda 3 remake, but it was really just a Zelda 3 remake. Like, there wasn't much else to it. So I don't want to say this is not the best Zelda game, but it might be in my top 5.
It's real good.
Top 3?
I mean, it's basically, even though because it's hard to say. A lot of people are like, oh my god, best game ever. Oh my god, best Zelda, right? So
It's too soon.
it's first
to
of all,
say that.
it's too soon to say that. But what is true is that the same way you won't say Evangelion is the best anime there is, but it still changed anime and had this huge impact, like a nuke on the anime world, right? This game has set the new standard for all single-player video games on all platforms.
It's
like if you're not as good as this, you're not worth playing.
It has also definitely told people or shown people what an open world sandboxy type game should be.
Right. It's A.
I mean, Fallout 3, right? People are like, oh, look at this crazy world.
I was going to compare it to the same game.
Yeah, you wander around Fallout 3 and it's breathtaking for like 10 minutes, and then you realize that everything's the same and there's fucking nothing
Fallout
anywhere.
3 is enormous. Breath of the Wild is, I haven't measured it, but it's definitely bigger.
I
in my
thought
opinion.
it was big already, but I went into like this northeastern area that I haven't been to yet, like last night.
It's so
Holy
big.
shit, there's like a whole world over there that I
Yeah.
have not even encountered.
You don't even know how big it is. It's so big, right? That's something I've asked for so long. I'm like, Nintendo, just make another Super Metroid game exactly the same, only like 4 times as big. Oh my God, just make this game only way, way bigger.
And
it's
my other complaint about Zelda games for a long time has been, I don't want it to be just a linear plot of go here, get the item that lets you go to area 2, get the item and go to 3.
So, Super Metroid, I can say, is the best game ever, right? Still, at least for now. And
it's the best Metroidvania ever made.
Super Metroid perfected the get item to unlock new areas to get item to unlock new areas pattern. And at the time, that was a revolution in gaming, and that is still a great way to make a game.
Yeah.
The problem is, people started making every game that way. Every game where you're exploring a relatively large space, was get the item to open the new area, to get the item and get a new ability to open a new area, and so forth. And that's still a very good game design. Obviously you can follow that pattern and make a bad game or a great game, but it just became tired because people have played it so much that now, the openness of something that is like Zelda 1, which is just go anywhere the hell you want, do anything you want, became refreshing, right?
Yep,
so
because that was the thing in the Zelda 1. Like, I was looking for the quote, but I'm pretty sure Miyamoto or someone said, I think it was Miyamoto, said something to the effect of he wanted the game to, in some ways, evoke the feeling he had as a kid of just wandering through forests and finding stuff.
Right, and Zelda 1 and this game have so much in common and evoke that same feeling for the following reasons, right? So number 1, the first thing that this and Zelda 1 have in common is that, you just appear at the start, wherever the hell the start is.
Yep, and you don't know shit.
You don't know anything.
Other than you probably have a
you read the instructions in Zelda 1.
So you read the instructions in Zelda 1, or if you're playing Breath of the Wild,
you know things about
Zelda. Yeah.
Unless this is unless you're a little kid.
So you have this vague idea of, I'm Link, there's Ganon, the princess is out there somewhere.
Yeah, and she needs saving. So, anyway, you see a man wearing red, an old white man wearing red with a white beard, who, in Zelda 1, he just gives you a sword and says, don't go alone, take this.
Yep.
But in Breath of the Wild, he teaches you everything you need to know to go into the dangerous world, which isn't just sword.
Yep.
Right? And they give you, in that starting area, every ability you need to actually play this game, and they teach you how to use all those abilities.
Imagine if in Zelda 3, they gave you every one of those items in the first hour of the game, and then they dropped you into the world and said, go nuts.
And you can go anywhere and do anything, except you're limited by your skills and the dangerousness of the world.
And you don't know about the world, so you start playing, you're like, oh, I'll climb up on that thing. And then it's actually way taller than you expected, and you fall to your death.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, I'll go east. And then you see a guy who kind of looks like a lion centaur, and then you're immediately dead. You don't even know what happened.
A lot of guys one-shot you early in the game.
Even later in the game.
Even late in the game, it's like I'd have like 30 hearts, or I'd like 10 hearts and 20 temporary hearts, and a guy hits me, and it takes, so even with my most defensive armor, I lose 10 hearts. So it's like
a moblin with one of those particularly pokey spears can do a lot of damage.
If you don't have a lot of defense, yeah, you can get messed up. There'll be like a robot with a laser, and in old Zelda games, those are easy to dodge. They weren't a big deal. And in this game, laser, you're on fire and you're dead. The end.
Yep. That sound it makes, that music, because that piano music starts playing, beep, 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 and then you see the laser sight on your head.
Oh yeah. All right. So, the other thing that's just like Zelda 1, right, is that as you go in Zelda 1, there were only so many different sprites and different things on the map. That was tree, brown tree, staircase, rock, ground.
But it still made the world, every area still felt way different.
Right. You had all these areas that felt, even though the map isn't that big, I memorized the whole freaking thing. That it feels like this geographic zones. It feels like a world. It's you got the beach, you got the lost woods, you got the graveyard, you got the mountains, you got the forest. You have all these in each area sort of feels like a separate significant place with like a meaning and a mood to it.
Holy
right?
shit, does Breath of the Wild capture that? Like, I'll be
Right.
riding my horse, and I'll see, like, here's an area where just a bunch of, like, foxes appear to live, and there's, like, some stuff here in this tiny little area in the middle of this giant world.
Mhm.
And I remember that spot.
But the other thing that Zelda 1 does to make that even stronger is to create landmarks, right? So in
Yup.
Zelda 1, it would be like, aha, this is the spot on the beach where there's like these weird platforms out in the water. Oh, and this is the spot where there's 3 trees arranged just so. And here's
Yup.
and here's the screen where there's 2 big rocks. And it's like it has a name. And then you play this game and it's like, oh, there's just landmarks everywhere. It's like there's the tree that's on the that's just for some reason on the peak of a mountain.
Yep, I
And
wonder
that-
what's up there.
I wonder what the deal with that is. And it's like, oh, there's the 3 caves. I don't even know if there is a 3 caves. I'm just
But it
like,
gets even better because the character, like one of the first characters you talk to, basically early in the game says, there is a village, and he gives you directions that are the kinds of directions a real person would give you in the real world to get to a place. And the map doesn't just show you where it is. You just like go and see, oh, there's a mountain that kind of looks like what he said. I guess I'll follow the road toward that.
but like those landmarks, it's like, you know, they sort of give you like this feeling of like it help you navigate, right? Because
Yup.
you can remember landmarks, right? And they give you feelings of meaning to places, right? Just like putting a few rocks in a particular pattern in a spot, like gives that space like a meaning and a reason to go there and take a look and see what's going on, right? It's something to look at, something to do there.
Now, a side point, in terms of making it interesting to go and look at those things, the little Korok guy quests
There's 900 of them.
are brilliant in that regard because
Mm-hmm.
these quests basically, if you ever see something that looks interesting at all, odds are if you fuck with it even a little bit, you'll get rewarded.
It does something. Everything does something.
So like literally, you'll be like riding your horse down a road for many minutes, like on your way to a town you've heard of because some guy said there's a town that way, and you're just
I'm
going
super
to see
late in the game. There's a town that a guy just told me about that I'd never been to, and I have to go find it now.
I just found another ancient tech laboratory, and I'm like, oh, great. I guess there's more of those. There's
Yep.
stuff. But you'll just be like on your way to this place, and then you see a circle of rocks, except one of the rocks is missing from the circle, and you're like, huh.
And even though this is just like this would be in any other game, just like a wasted space, just like a grassy area that just exists to make it take longer for you to get from point A to point B.
You know, if you wander off and find a rock and walk back over and put it in the spot to complete the ring, totally a quest.
Yep. So that's the main difference. You talk about Fallout 3, right? In Fallout 3, you have not only are all the different things to do just repetitive, it's either like kill some guys or fetch a thing. And, oh, this cave looks exactly just like every other cave. And this
Yup.
house looks exactly like every other house. In Breath of the Wild, there's this huge world, but the world is like jam-packed and rich, full of stuff everywhere. It's like down to the micro and the macro level. You know, everything is like interesting. It's like how many people and how many hours did they spend like manually populating this giant video game space with so much shit?
And just little details like if you're on a road, like at night sometimes you'll see a little bit of torchlight off in the distance, and you'll just people are traveling back and forth consistently between places and getting it. And if there's monsters there, the monsters just attack them. And if you save them, then they react to you and like they remember you, and the world just keeps changing as you mess with it.
It doesn't change that much.
It changes in really
those
little ways.
those traveling people are mostly set in
They
on
are,
certain
but
paths.
they're almost all tied to some minor quests
Right,
of some kind.
But it's like there isn't like this repeated stuff. Like everything is varied, and you'll see, and just by taking these, like I was going down, I was horsing down a road, and I see to my left there's like a grassy area that's kind of long and has an interesting, significant shape to it, like a landmark you would see in Zelda 1,
Yep.
and has weird trees, like they look sort of like baobab trees from.
I know where
The
you're
Little
talking
Prince,
about. I know where that is.
right? And it's
I've
like
been there.
you go in there, and it's like, even though this is just a little place that sort of fills up space on the map here in between two different other things, like it has this sort of significance. It's different from other places. It's like you pay attention to it just because it feels nice in there, and it's like it has a, sort of a significance to it somehow.
Well, it feels real. It feels like when I was a kid,
And
I
it's
just
not-
mountain bike through the woods.
And it's not just meaningless to go in there, just look around. It's like there's all kinds of mushrooms to collect in there, and like this stuff happening in every single one of these places.
Yep. Like I got to one area, I saw this big grassy field. I'm like, huh. And I see some horses way off in the distance. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a horse with me right now. I don't know where a nearby stable is. I should go get a horse. It'll make this easier. And then I start going toward the horses, and then I realize that those horses all have riders, and those riders are all bokoblins with spears.
Right.
And now I got to deal with that.
So the game is not, but let's talk about the negative things in this game, right? Because we just talked about the game, we'd be here for like an hour, right? So there are negative things. So one negative thing is that the controls are not 100% perfect.
The camera,
they're way good. And
I would like the camera to scroll faster.
The Pro Controller is very, very significantly better than the other regular controllers. Very significantly better. However, here's an example of something that is not good, right? So in every other Zelda game, you either couldn't jump, or I guess there were 2D Zelda games where you got the feather and you could jump with A, which is normal.
I mean, the second Zelda you could jump.
Sure, guess so. But in 3D Zelda games, the jumping was always automatic. You would just walk and Link would jump, right? In this game, you jump by pressing a button. So, of course, if you're making a video game, you want A to be the jump button, right?
Yep.
Because B is the running button. It makes sense, like Mario.
Unless you're some knockoff bullshit game,
Right.
and then up is the jump button.
Y is the attacking button. And in every 3D Zelda game so far, since there was no jumping, you would use A as your sort of interact with things button, like read the sign, talk to the person.
Yep.
So because they ran out of buttons, and because you don't need X for the item button anymore, X has become the jump button. And it's like, oh my god,
weird for like 10 minutes,
X
and then I just
being
got
the
used
jump
to
button isn't good, but you can see why they done that, right? Another thing that's bad, there'll be like certain puzzles in the game that are real finicky, right?
Well, as soon as you use the motion controls.
Right, well, that's one thing, but you know, in other Zelda games, let's say there's a block pushing puzzle, the block would be like on rails, and you couldn't possibly push the block in a wrong way or mess yourself up, right?
But these are all physics based. Like you might push it off a cliff and get stuck. And
it's all physics engines, so like it sometimes can be real finicky to get the block in just the right spot, or get that thing balanced just so that you can complete the puzzle.
But with that negative also comes a slight positive in that the puzzles can be pretty complex. And your solutions can be the kinds of things that in other Zelda games you would think, why can't I just do this?
Right.
Why can't I just throw the thing over there?
Because
if you come up with a clever way to beat a puzzle, it'll probably work.
Right. It's finicky because it's free form, but by allowing for that finickiness, you get the free formness. There was a place I just went over there because I saw a beach and I wanted to go to the beach. And then I saw some stuff in the distance and I wanted to go to it, so I did. And then when I got over there, I saw a real dangerous dude, and he was going to kill me in one shot, but I also saw he was keeping his treasure chest in the interesting place I saw from far away. So I used my stealth. I grabbed the interesting treasure chests that were full of like 500 rupees, and then I dove off the cliff into the water before he noticed me. And it's like, you can't do that if the game's not free form. And a more strict game would have been like, you must come into this area through this entrance. No way you're getting the treasure without beating the bad guy.
Yep. Now, to prevent you from, because the fact that you can kind of fly, and if you level up your stamina and get some climbing gear, you can climb real high and just jump into everything. So, like, there's these mazes. I found this giant labyrinth. The way they prevent you from just flying over the top of it is very clever. The game makes, like, real-world reasons why you can't do something rather than just invisible blocking you like every other Zelda game.
Yep.
So, if you try to fly over the top of that thing, sure, that seems to work, except there's all these flying ancient monstrosities flying around the top of the thing, and they attack you if you come anywhere near the top of that labyrinth.
And even if you go to where you think the end of the labyrinth is and just drop in from the top, it's like, okay, congratulations.
Now you're in the labyrinth.
But you're in the labyrinth now. It's getting out kind of sucks, but it's like, you can do it. Go ahead. It's like the labyrinth is actually designed in such a way at the bottom where there's all these walls that extend to the ceiling, but there are openings in these walls that are only at the bottom and such. So it's like, unless you know the labyrinth already, coming in from the top only helps you so much. You still have to do some work.
And you get attacked by those sky watchers anyway, and those things are real dangerous.
Well, you went to the most dangerous labyrinth first.
Wow.
Which is also what I did.
I didn't know there were other labyrinths.
There are 3 labyrinths for the 3 pieces of Barbario gear. The other two labyrinths I went
You
to
know how I
after
found that
were so much
labyrinth?
easier.
I saw a tower in the distance, and I wanted to get it because I wanted to fill in a part of the map. And on my way to the tower, I saw the labyrinth. I'm like, ooh, what the fuck is that? I went over there instead.
I did that too. But I went to that area only after having a reason to go to that area. That's also my favorite area of the game, that Akala.
So the fiddling of the controls, the only times it really causes a problem for me is I will often, with the regular controller, accidentally crouch when I'm in the middle of a fight because it's real easy to accidentally push your left thumb a little too hard on the stick.
You know, this has been around since PlayStation where you push the analog sticks
hate that too.
in as a button. That shouldn't be a button. Add 2 more buttons. I know people are going to be like, oh, it's fine. And yeah, I don't really have a problem with it that often. But
in this game,
in principle, I don't like, because, like, what if I'm just, like, moving the stick aggressively? I'm going to push it inwards, right? It's just a thing that happens.
In fact, the more tense a fight is, the more likely I am to push it inwards, and that has killed me easily half a dozen times.
Yeah, I do not like the, analog sticks being pushed in ever, but that's just a thing, so whatever. Right?
Yep. But that fiddliness also is a problem in one very specific minor area that I wouldn't complain about, except it's so integral to the game. I have thrown my cooking ingredients in the fire next to the cook pot like 10 times.
That's happened a lot to me as well.
I lost some good stuff to the fire.
It was not easy to figure out the interface for, like, hold. Oh, hold multiple things and drop them all at once. That wasn't obvious. Okay, so another flaw in this game is that it's very annoying early in the game that your weapons degrade. They degrade too quickly.
Now, I would argue that it's a positive in a very different sense.
Right. Well, that's the I was going to get, right? It's like they made this negative thing where you get weapons and you beat a bunch of bad guys up and then your weapons are gone. You got to use, like, the weapons the bad guys dropped or do other things to beat them.
I used a lot of bokoblin clubs from the early game.
I mean, even later in the game, I'm pretty much using stuff bad guys drop, right?
Yep.
They're just dropping better stuff for me. And that's kind of frustrating, like, especially way early in the game. It's super frustrating.
But it adds this element combined with the fact that you have stamina. Like, you think, oh, I'll just climb to the top of this thing. Well, do you have enough stamina? Like, you might not be able to make it to the top, and then you're fucked.
Right.
And the cooking and the danger, it means that it has this sort of, like, survival in the wild aspect, which really adds to the atmosphere.
I think what it does is it just forces you to variate what you're doing, right?
Don't just fight everything you run into.
Well, no, in other Zelda games, right, you would get the best stuff, and then you would just always use, like in Zelda 64, once you got the mirror shield, like that was it.
Yep. Zelda 1.
Once you got the big Goron sword and the Master Sword, those are the only 2 swords you use.
If you got the Master Sword, you never use that whiz robe thing ever again.
Right. It's like, once you have certain things, you don't use the crappier stuff. Now, it's like, yeah, you'll find crappy stuff once you have better stuff, and it'll be too crappy. But you still use a variant stuff to fight different guys. You got to get different kinds of arrows. You got to really mix it up because things are getting destroyed all the time.
Yep.
You can't keep using the same stuff.
But it also gives you this sense of a real world, because I'm glad the game didn't make you actually get hungry and need to eat food just to live.
Yeah, that would
But
suck.
you do need to eat food or find places to sleep to restore
there aren't
your health.
hearts lying on the ground, right? When you kill a bad guy, they drop stuff that makes sense for them to drop.
Yeah.
When you kill a Keese, it drops bat wings and occasionally extra good eyeballs.
Yeah, it's never going to drop rupees.
You can turn those into rupees because every place that sells and buys stuff will buy things from you for the same exact price.
Yep.
So an eyeball is worth X rupees at worst, or you can use it for cooking something, or take it to the monster shop, or, you get these resources by killing things, and you can use them in a variety of ways.
But the resource cycle just makes the game feel very much like this sort of real-world, dangerous environment.
They did something that no other Zelda game had ever done, which is to make rupees matter.
Oh, rupees matter a lot.
In every other Zelda game, you'd be getting rupees all the time, but once you bought everything there was to buy with rupees, you didn't need rupees anymore. You just got them all the time for what?
What was the Minish Cap?
To have?
Minish Cap, I think I had 999 rubies and 999 shells. I was like, well.
In Zelda 1, an arrow would cost you a rupee, but once you had it didn't really matter anymore, right?
Yep.
Until this Zelda game, it's like I still need more rupees, even though I found the bowling game and I'm basically able to farm rupees at like 280 rupees a minute.
I've been cooking expensive dishes and selling them.
Right. It's like even though I have a zillion rupees, I need more. There's a fancy armor I want to buy that costs 6,000 rupees, and I spent 10,000 rupees to get a fairy fountain, It's like, damn, I need more rupees all the time. And there's plenty of them out there, but I still want more. I need more rupees. No other Zelda game has done that.
I also appreciate how dangerous it makes the world feel in general. Like, there's this very powerful cycle of your stuff is not that strong, you don't have that many hearts, so going to places feels scary, and you're like sneaking around and avoiding
Just
fights.
like in Zelda 1, if you went up to the northern parts of Zelda 1 and the overworld, but when you were not strong enough, it was way dangerous up there. If you went to the graveyard with like your wooden sword,
Bad news
it
bears.
would take you so many stabs, those ghosts would mess you up.
But then you get some weapons, you get some hearts, you get some stamina wheels and some confidence, you get better at the game, and you start to feel better. But then you wander into this desert, and there's way differently dangerous stuff in there, and now you're scared again.
Yeah, it's like even if you have a whole bunch of stuff, and you normally in like an RPG you would level up, and then you'd no longer be afraid of things once you're leveled up so much.
Yep.
You still need skills in this game. Everything is still super dangerous, even when you level up a whole ton.
Those Lionels.
Right. It's like you can go to a Lionel, and it's like if you have skills, you can beat Lionel with like a stick and a pot lid, or a bunch of sticks and a bunch of pot lids because they'll keep breaking. Or you can go to Lionel, the dangerous dude, with a whole ton of masterful equipment and still get your ass kicked because you don't have skills.
So Lionels are
He still
interesting.
hits you and does 1,000,000 damage.
Because in one of the Great Beast quests, they're like, yeah, the best way to get shock arrows is to go steal them from this Lionel. He's super dangerous, though. Watch out. So I just snuck up there, and I kept seeing him in the distance, and I took a picture of him and told my sensor to key on him, and I just walked slowly counterclockwise, picking up arrows that he had left behind and making sure he didn't see me.
And that area is designed in such a way that when you finally finish the loop around, and all right, at the very end, there's this little outlet place with a whole bunch of arrows on this one tree, and you take them all, and then it conveniently, this little outcropping, if you jump off of it, you land in the water exactly where you need to go.
Yep.
So it's like they designed it specifically so that you
When I got
would
to that spot, he
sneak around and jump off.
He saw me and was running at me, and I grabbed the arrows and ran and jumped.
Right, it's like you could have just fought him and beat him. It's possible, but they designed it so that you would sneak around and jump off, and sneaking actually works.
So the other night, I was just wandering. It was night in the game because there was a day-night cycle and rain and lightning and all that stuff. So it was a night, and I just was like on my way somewhere in an area I haven't really explored. And I see like something in the distance. I can't quite see what it is. So I click the thing, and Emily's sitting next to me. I click the thing to zoom in on it. And Emily's like, wow, it's a Lionel, like this blue-looking one.
Those are real dangerous. I couldn't beat that one. I beat some other ones.
Yeah,
I beat a
so-
zebra-looking one and a red one.
So he's way far away,
The blue one messed me up.
and his eyes are glowing, and he's looking straight at me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just stand there, and I'm like, holy shit, that is really creepy. He's just like looking straight at me, but I'm way far away from him, right? Like way far away.
He has perfect arrow shot, and he shoots 3 arrows at once.
So I unzoom, and I just stand there like, is he going to attack me? And he just stands there, not moving. Just stare. I zoom in again. He's always staring at me. So finally, I back up a little bit. He doesn't react at all. So I assume maybe, I'm out of his range. So I turn around and start walking away. Suddenly, all these arrows come raining down from behind, and I spin back around. He's right next to me, and then I'm dead.
Yep.
That was really scary.
That's the thing, is the game is so free, right? And it's you can just do whatever, that it creates stories almost like the Dwarf Fortress creates stories, right?
And
Of the things that happen with all these interacting systems that actually interact and work well together. But like in other Zelda games, you can only climb on a vine. Now you can climb on anything almost. It's other games, trying a thing wouldn't work. Only the very specific thing, the specific way to do something worked, and you had to do that. It's like now
you can't be clever.
anything will work. All your clever things will actually work. You can drop a metal thing from really high up onto a bad guy. It'll crush and kill him.
Yup. I've pushed boulders down and knocked bokoblins off their horses.
Right? They actually spent some ridiculous amount of time to make all these systems like interact. You can put a food on the ground, and a bad guy will go over and try to get the food and be distracted.
My favorite thing when I want, sometimes there's a whole bunch of bokoblins like in a little skull house.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to do is I'll roll a bomb down to the entrance, and they'll all run out to see it, like gather around the bomb, and then I blow the bomb up.
Yep.
You can do stuff like that. In the end, it just makes games like Fallout feel really sparse and crappy.
It makes every single player game
Like this is
feel
set
like
the
not worth playing, right?
forget single player. This has set the bar for open world games in a way that no one has ever even come close before, I don't think.
Now there are, let's see, the thing is, it's like, there's just so many good things in the game.
No one will
That-
see them all. You'll
Right.
probably beat the game and miss a full third of what you could have
Right,
interacted
that even though it's not perfect, those good things like override all those imperfect parts. Like you go
Yeah.
back and you look at a game like say Mario 64, which like made the 3D platformer playable, and now you look at Mario 64 and it's like it has so many problems,
Yup.
and it's like it's finicky and there's some glitches and all this stuff, right? And this is a lot like the same thing. Is they took this kind of game, and they're like, no, we're going to show you how to do, and they showed everyone how to do, but, in the future, you're going to see that, like, this game, has its problems.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, all games will have that.
Sure.
So it also does a really good job
Super
with
Metroid doesn't.
with the story in that there aren't a lot of
Oh,
cutscenes.
I forgot about that problem. That's the biggest problem in this game,
Huh?
is this cutscenes with bad voice acting. Fuck them to hell.
The voice acting is not great,
It's
shall we say.
atrocious.
The Japanese voice acting does sound better.
I haven't heard it.
But you cannot have Japanese language acting with English subtitles.
Boo.
So you got to deal with it. But luckily, there aren't that many cutscenes.
You haven't gotten a lot of memories. There's a cutscene for every fucking memory.
But there aren't that many memories. I've gotten most of them.
There's a lot of freaking cutscenes.
Yeah,
there's too many.
Compared to the other things I've done in the game, there aren't that many cutscenes.
There's annoying number. You haven't done all the things I've done. Because you've only done one Great Beast.
I've only done one Great Beast.
There's like multiple
Yeah, the Great
cutscenes
Beast.
per Great Beast.
So all the cutscenes of the first Great Beast I did are my hot shark boyfriend being amazing.
The other
or
ones
my
have-
previous hot shark girlfriend who is now dead being amazing.
all the cutscenes for I've done the bird and the camel.
Yep.
I haven't gone to Goron Land yet. I think that's.
I'm near the Goron Land right now.
I decided I'm gonna Goron Land last. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna do every other land, and then once I'm like completely cleaned out every other land, I'll go to Goron Land, because there's got to be like tons of stuff in Goron Land, right?
I think I'm doing Gerudo next because that's the area
That's the camel land.
I've been poking
It's
around in.
Gerudo. It's
Yeah.
the camel land.
I've been poking around in that area.
Yeah, it's a good area.
There's good stuff in there.
I think that's the area I've cleaned out the most. Like, because I didn't. It's so annoying to go in the desert. I don't. I'm
'Cause your horses are like hell
I don't.
no.
I don't want to say I've 100% cleaned it out, but I feel like I've done like so many quests there. There's almost nothing left for me to do there. Except probably a million Korok seeds, maybe a shrine or two. Who knows? I don't feel. I'd be very surprised if there's more than like 2 or 3 shrines there that I haven't gotten. Anyway,
But the story.
each Great Beast, the main 4 plot areas of the game, have so much cutscene stuff, and it's kind of annoying with the bad voice acting.
Yeah, but if there weren't the voice acting, they're not that bad because they are relatively short.
Right. One interesting Zelda thing in this game is that in other Zelda games, the Triforce is like all up in, right? They're like Triforce, 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 Triforce.
This one's definitely Triforce.
No one has mentioned the Triforce at all, right? Even though it's obvious to anyone who's played Zelda before. I've seen the Triforce only on a few things. There's like one spot in the game where it's on the ground
Yup.
on a plaque or something.
And there's those 3 dragons.
Right, so the 3 dragons.
And the 3 shrines or whatever. Not the shrines,
So,
the 3 power whatever.
Right, so nobody has told me about the dragons, but you'll be playing and you'll just see this freaking long ass Chinese dragon up in the sky making noise, doing a thing, and you're just like, whoa. And it's
I'm
like
going to hide behind this tree until that is gone.
it gives you like this, that mystical kind of like, what is that? No one even told me about that, but that's a thing I want to explore kind of feeling. And the game rewards you for exploring, cool stuff that you just see that no one even told you about. It's just
Yup.
there. But there's 3 dragons. One of them is power, one of them is courage, and one of them is wisdom. They obviously go with the Triforce. And there's 3 shrines, power, courage, and wisdom. And you have to offer a scale to each shrine. I did the wisdom one, which the dragon was at the shrine. It's like it's set up for you to be easy.
Nah.
But it wasn't easy to be that dragon. But anyway, and I put the shrine in there. I put the scale in the shrine. I found the power shrine, and I've seen the power dragon in the sky. But I have no idea how to get to the dragon or get a scale from it. And I don't know where the courage shrine is, though I can guess. And I've seen the courage dragon, but I have no
there's a lot of
idea where the courage shrine is
So-
or how to get the scale from the dragon. If you mess with the dragon, it just fucking destroys you.
So last night, it was night again, and I was like wandering around on the edge of this cliff, just in an area, and I saw a shooting star, like, huh. And then it came down and crashed way off in the distance.
I've seen a shooting star in the distance, but I couldn't make it there because dangerous stuff killed me.
I saw it crash, and I was like, whoa. So I put a beacon pin in it, and I started heading that way, and I couldn't figure out a way to get where it landed, and I gave up.
I couldn't get where it landed because I was murdered by lasers.
Lasers
And I haven't seen another one.
Yeah, I've one place I thought, I'll fly down into this area. So I'm flying down, and I hear the noise if there's a guardian. I figure, okay, I'll do the thing where I like drop kite, and they'll usually miss me. And then like 5 more lasers. I literally had 6 of those lines like all pointed at me.
Yep.
And I was like, well, let's just teleport back to a safe place.
Yeah, so examples of annoying things that have happened, right? So I was riding a horse and trying to get away from some guardians.
Yep.
And I'm like whipping the horse, and then the horse just stops.
Well, did you run the horse out of
The horse still shouldn't just. I mean, I'm okay if it threw me off and kept running, right? That makes sense. A horse just stopping when someone's shooting lasers at it and it's on fire.
Well, one, they're
makes
not shooting.
A horse on fire should keep running. Like, holy shit, my ass is on fire. Throw me off. I don't care. But it stopped, and because it stopped, if it threw me off, I wouldn't have died because I would have been able to like get up and run.
Your problem is you're trying to run this horse to death, and the horse is like,
I'm getting
I'll live.
shot at by lasers.
The horse was like, you know what? If I just stand here, this motherfucker on my back will die, and then I get to go home and eat my own.
No,
bag.
the horse died, and I ran away.
Can horses actually die? I've never seen a horse die.
Yeah, he got shot by lasers and burned to death. It died. It was a stupid horse, right? So that, they have all these systems that you see so many times that are so intelligent. That system was not intelligent.
Maybe that horse just wasn't intelligent.
No,
Because I got a horse now. It's not like the special horse, but this horse.
I have a special
so
horse, but there are other special horses.
Fast.
Yeah, I have the white horse, the grandchild of Zelda's horse. It's the
Yep.
fastest.
I do not have that horse. I just have some random horse I found that is just wicked fast.
Yeah.
And I have another horse that I stole from some bokoblins.
Right. Another thing about horses. So there's a horse race. You probably haven't gotten there.
I got the horse race.
It's one of those things you have to jump over a bunch of sticks.
I beat the shit out of that. That was so easy.
I tried to do it, and my fucking horse, like, I'm aimed at the stick dead on.
How fast are you going?
I was going way fast. It was the white Zelda horse.
No.
And he just gets up to the stick and just stops.
But he balked. That happens.
Every single time.
Well, maybe you can't. Maybe he doesn't like to race. Pick a different horse.
I'm just saying, it's like, that's
I
bullshit.
beat that race my first time.
I did multiple tries and didn't beat it, even though I had built the skill to do it, and I felt like I was doing nothing wrong. Just the horse was doing perfectly up until this one stick. For some reason, it always stopped on that stick.
I think you're doing something wrong.
There
and the
was
horse is
something
trying to
wrong
teach you
with-
a lesson.
There was something wrong with something messed up. I don't know what the hell it was.
I think you're just doing it wrong.
Go watch on the Twitch VOD of like what
I will.
what
I
was
will
doing
watch
there.
it and see what
I
happens.
spent so many fucking tries on this stupid thing, and at first I was messing up, but eventually I figured it out, and just for some reason it just bullshitted me on this one spot.
Yeah, I found that horse race to be really easy. With a
It
regular-ass
felt
horse.
way easy. It felt like I was doing everything right,
And I beat it, so it was way easy.
Well, I think it's something, maybe a different horse. I don't know, but it was just fucking
Yeah.
fucking bullshit there. Something was fucked up.
But in terms of the story, aside from the voice acting, I like the fact that the story itself is
Maybe
actually
it's time a different horse race.
pretty sparse in that I mean, it's a precursor technology, post-apocalyptic world, all that stuff, and you basically don't really remember shit, which works from a storytelling standpoint
It's way easy.
because you don't know what's going on.
Zelda doesn't need to have a lot of story, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you play Zelda 1, the story is in the instruction manual and at the end of the game
Yep.
and nowhere in between.
And
I actually think that the story parts actually kind of bother me, mostly because it's bad voice acting.
Other than the voice acting, though, I do like the story because it hints at this, the long arc of Zelda and how there was a Lapita era, and then there was the normal era, and you live in the post-apocalyptic, Ganon won that last war era.
Yep.
And
I like the small stories, right? Like in the town, like there's a story of this one person and their deal. The big story, I don't really care so much. Those characters are like, except Sharkman.
I'm pretty invested in the Shark family.
Except like even Zelda. Zelda is so annoying. I'm like, excuse me, princess, shut
Zelda
up.
reminds me a little bit of Princess Bubblegum in that this Zelda.
She's definitely trying to be Princess Bubblegum, but her personality is unpleasant. I'm like, oh my god, shut
she's
up.
a little more. I like how there isn't really, at least as far as I've run into, much implied romance between Link and Zelda. And I kind of like that. I like how.
There was never implied romance before too much either.
Yeah, well, excuse me. There was a lot of implied romance in the cartoon.
In the cartoon, there was, sure.
Yeah, and in general fandom.
But in the
people-
games, it's just like, it's like you sort of assume that just because that's the way human brains are. But it's
Yeah.
like I don't remember them ever kissing or having the same bedroom or doing any, you know.
But I like the fact, like, for example, Miffa, you know, your dead shark girlfriend, she, you run into humans in the game, and they don't know who the fuck you are because you're from 100 years ago.
Well, I have the Master Sword. So there's one person who's like, oh, you are the hero. You have the Master Sword. There are other people who are like,
most of those
there's
humans,
someone I met who was like, yeah, there was a hero who had this Master Sword a long time ago. I wonder if I'll ever see them again. I'm like, here, let me show it to you.
Well, Hylian. Any Hylian you meet, pretty much, who isn't old, definitely has no idea who you are. Or if they know who you are, they were not around when you were around last time.
Yeah, you've been asleep for 100 years.
Kids don't care at all. Kids are just like, they just ignore you, or that one kid shows you the dark god that he's friends with. I like that kid a lot.
Anyway.
Hey, mister, you want to meet my friend?
The point is, if you need, you know, I mean, this game is so enormous and there's so much stuff in it. Like, if you are a person who plays video games,
like
a nerd
this
of any
game.
kind, it's must play. It's like every other game, you know, compared to this is like, nope. If you can't be as good as this with your single player AAA game, don't even publish it.
Every negative I can come up with about this game is outweighed by the fact that I like this game enough to where instead of teleporting sometimes, I ride my horse anyway because it's pleasant.
You know, I actually stopped riding horses. I'm just walking. I got so much stamina now, it doesn't even really matter.
I like the horse riding because they will just follow a road and I'm kind of scanning.
Yeah, the thing with the horse riding is that like I miss small stuff when I'm riding the horse, just going from place to place real fast. Right? I teleport and walk everywhere.
I do a
or
lot
fly.
of
I
flying.
fly.
Most of my early upgrades, which is part of why I don't have the Master Sword yet, because I didn't go to the Dark God to swap everything.
Go to the Dark God.
I'll just get more hearts.
It's worth
but
it.
I got a lot
it takes a long time to get that many hearts.
I got a lot of stamina first. So in the early game, I could climb and fly to a lot of really dangerous places. So I snuck into some towers. Like when you first see a Wizrobe, they're like Magic Man from Adventure Time. They're terrifying and freaky.
Yeah, they're not scaring me now.
No, now I can just like arrow them to death if I want.
Yep. But yeah, the game, the one last thing is the game has so many callbacks to old Zeldas that if you haven't played the old Zeldas, you won't get them.
But they're subtle and unnecessary.
I mean, it's not necessary to get them.
Yeah.
But because I played almost every single player Zelda there is to completion, I see all these things, and they're so awesome. So, like, getting the Master Sword, you need 13 hearts.
Yep.
You need 13 hearts to get the Magic Sword in Zelda 1. The old man won't let you take it unless you have that many hearts.
Master using it, and you can have this.
Right. There is, in Zelda 1, the end of the game is inside of the left rock of Spectacle Rock, which is this place with 2 mountains. And in this game, there's a place called Spectacle Rock on the map with 2 mountains. And it's just like, there's so many things.
The Lost Woods is just a straight up Lost Woods, like figure out the maze.
Right, there's so many things that are just from old Zelda games that have been just upgraded and inserted into this Zelda game, especially Zelda 1, the other open world Zelda, that if you know those things, it's like even the most dangerous guy, the Lionel, is the most dangerous guy from Zelda 1, the Lionel. It's the same guy, a centaur with a sword who shoots things at you.
I think the most dangerous guy in Zelda 1 is Blue Wizrobe.
No. Blue Wizrobe is not as dangerous as Lionel.
Lionels were real easy to kill if you had a shield.
Still real dangerous.
If there was a lot of them. Plus, Dark Knots were way harder to kill than Lionels.
Lionel did way more damage. He would mess you up.
Just don't get hit by him, jeez.
They're tough. Especially if there's be a screen just full of Lionel.
Yep. I cannot recommend this game enough.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a Switch is out now.
I mean, we could literally do a Zelda-only show.
The Switch factor, right, with the portableness, it's like, how can you not?
Yeah, like I'm going to Zenkaikon in a few weeks. I'm just going to play Zelda on the train.
Even if you're not buying a Switch, if you're one of those people who accidentally bought a Wii U,
just buy this game today.
You can buy the game for Wii U.
Yeah. Because then, I mean, no, there aren't other Switch games worth playing.
You probably spent as much money on Steam games you aren't playing as you would pay to get a Switch and this game, and you're actually going to play that if you buy it, unlike all the Steam games you bought for the same amount of money. So just do it.
Yep. But, like, we could literally probably do weeks and weeks of shows just about Zelda.
It's so big, I can just talk forever.
Yeah.
Which is how every single player game, you know, to be worth.
What can I
paying-
say about Fallout 3? I beat
for me to
Fallout 3.
spend $50 and that much of my life on a game, it should be so big that I can talk about it for hours. Otherwise, why is it even worth playing?
I beat Fallout 3, that giant, you know, quote unquote open world, and the only thing I really would say that was interesting was the end was dumb because the one you could have sent a robot in, or the one guy was already radioactive immune, so like it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't have any interesting stories. Oh, I found a gray building filled with dudes and I killed them.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
So this game's super good.
I'm good.
Bop. All right.